La consulta del doctor Escarabajo, dígame.
La consulta del doctor Escarabajo.
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 Hiding from view behind a ridge of stones, they lie together.
Hi everyone. So the band started in 1979 in a small town in the middle of England, and we had quite small expectations when we started. It was really just about maybe, releasing a single or getting a play on, Radio 1, like John Peel. We didn't really have any bigger dreams than that. Of course, it would have been nice to be on top of the pops or be pop stars, but to begin with, it was really small steps. We did quickly actually find ourselves signed to a major record label, and we were playing gigs in London and all over the UK to large audiences pretty quickly. So suddenly our kind of expectations changed, and I think we started to, really aspire to, to chart success, and our dreams of, I suppose, fame and fortune came closer and closer. I would say that, in one way, I think we achieved a lot because our songs have been well received and are still played all around the world, from the USA through all the way to the Philippines and South Africa and everywhere, and it's great that that's the case. The songs were not massive hits at the time, and I think that's one thing that I probably I'm not so satisfied with, really, that they weren't kind of bigger when they were released. It's kind of it's taken time, and it's great that they are. It's how do you, I suppose, judge success or what success is, and the fact is that I think, for instance, a song like Nowhere Girl has left a long legacy, and it really does affect and mean something to a lot of people. So I think in that way it is very, very successful. I think we would have liked to have maybe made an album earlier on in our career, around when we first started. I think that would have been really good. So yeah, it has been a bit intermittent, really, but I am satisfied with the success that the band enjoyed. You always want more in life, but I think that was where I'm at now, and the fact that I can still go out, play gigs around the world, and there's a lot of love, a lot of respect for the band. I think that's pretty good.
Of the day trippers passing by.
Yeah, well, obviously we've been living through, a global pandemic over the last few months, and Climate of Fear was very much a sort of a band sounding album, kind of getting in the studio, writing the songs, as a band, and then recording them quite live. So that was the sort of way that we approached that. with things because of the difficulties of recording as a band over the last year, and not being able to play live and other things, we sort of decided that we had to think of a new way of working, a new way of sharing things, and Paul, who is the the guitarist in B Movie, but he's also a kind of genius when it comes to production and other instrumentation. He sent me some backing tapes, and I worked some lyrics around them. It came pretty quickly. It's a different way of working, so we then put some keyboards on there. Rick played some keyboards on the tracks, and the songs really took shape. So it is an interim kind of album. We're aiming to put it together into an album form, but it's an interim album before maybe we will go back and record something along the lines of Climate of Fear again. So the songs are a little bit more kind of, I suppose, electronic in their format. The new songs, it's very difficult to record. It has been difficult to record live drums the way we'd like to do it. So that's what I would say. We are producing and offering this as a an interim before a band sounding album again. Yeah, well, I mean, I think whenever you write or release new material, you have high expectations for them, but obviously I just want them to be appreciated. There's been a lot of very good comments and feedback from people on hearing them. I think that those sort of things are important to bands. Getting that kind of respect back from people who work in the music world, and fans, of course. So I don't know. I think that we're just in this kind of weird time. It's kind of like a stopgap. We're sort of we're keeping things alive. We're sort of moving, towards getting back out there and playing live again next year, and it's a constant state of trying to put together something contemporary, but without losing that that old school kind of approach of B Movie. That remember, the band has now been together for 40 years, so we still have our roots firmly in the in the sort of the earlier era, but the songs are adapted to like the modern age.
When nobody knows, nobody cares who they are.
Well, Brighton Beach is one of, I think there was around about 15, 16 songs that Paul and I were working on during the sort of spring this year and into the summer. Brighton Beach came fairly late on, and the lyric really came from I saw a photograph, and it was in a local photographer's gallery by a Japanese photographer, and I called Setsuo Katu, and I kind of liked the imagery of it, and decided that I'd like to construct a lyric, an imaginary scenario around the photograph. It was of three couples lying on a beach on Brighton Beach, kind of in a kind of open display of love and affection. It's obviously the Japanese photographer coming from an Eastern's perspective, where that kind of thing is, no one does that really. It's quite interesting how the two kind of worlds collide there in that imagery. So I wrote a song about that and imagined a lyric, and it worked, I think, really well, and sort of, contrasting, just like a really sort of contrasting sort of life, real life with a sort of an imaginary romantic life, and I think that's the sort of thing that's always been present in B-movie songs, that sort of romanticism that runs through it. So that's Brighton Beach. It is quite difficult to think about live concerts these days. The last show we did was in January. We supported Toya in London. It's very disappointing that we haven't been able to play any shows. We were meant to play with the Chameleons in Manchester this week, but obviously that's been postponed till next year. We kind of we're quite well. We are a real rock and roll band. We're loud, but I think it's atmospheric. I would say is something I would say that we do. We kind of we sort of play a mixture of new material as well as some of the old material. The band has been, like I said, together for a long time, so there's a good chemistry on stage between us, and it's quite powerful. So we try to incorporate songs from different eras or different times in our careers. Some, obviously, the very early days when we were on an independent label, then Some Bizarre period, then beyond that into the sort of Sire era, Letter from Afar, those kind of songs, and then beyond that the new material. We've released 2 albums over the last sort of few years, and obviously the new songs, so quite a big range of songs, but fun, I think, at the end of the day, is how I would describe us. Danceable too, I suppose. To be honest with you, I kind of know what I like, and I'm not really that. I don't really know that much about the international music scene. There's some great music out there. There always is, of course. My music is always quite. It's personal, and we have our own influences and the kind of style of music that we draw upon. There seems to be quite a lot of homogeneous. A lot of music sounds pretty much the same to me, but and maybe there's a bit of a lacking in really fine lyric writers or artists that are kind of saying something, a bit more directly about what's going on in the world. So I think it's just sort of a very fragmented picture, but I'm glad to be part of it, actually. Too many memories in my heart as I walk alone. Yeah, we're trying to put it out. We're going to be releasing some new songs. We've got a new song obviously out Brighton Beach, and then we've got hopefully an EP coming out in the spring next year, which will contain more of the kind of songs that we started writing this year. A track called Melt, and another one called Inertia, and so a little bit harder edged this time than the first 2. a little bit more darker, a little bit more sort of in that kind of more sort of I suppose, you know, going back to our electronic roots a bit more, I suppose, the next ones, and there might also be a reworking of like Remembrance Day, because it's like 40 years since it was first released. So I think that we're looking to re-establish ourselves right at the, in that sort of that dark wave kind of style. So that's what will be coming back next year.
Nothing's gonna change my state of mind. Too many memories.
Well, I don't think the world will ever be the same again, and to be honest with you, I don't actually think that's such a bad thing. I think hopefully we will have learnt something through this experience. Obviously, respect for the planet and for others. I think we need to stop and think a little bit about how this happened, why, what we can do to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's, I think, made people sort of think about new ways of doing things. It's opened up new possibilities, new opportunities in certain areas. The music scene could actually, you might find this has actually been a very good period for songwriters and artists to really be forced in to dig deep into themselves and to write great new music. And I'm really hoping that there'll be some fantastic new bands, new creativity coming through next year and beyond. Sometimes dark days sort of can bring out the best in sort of songwriters and poets and artists, and I think that this may be a time that we'll look back on and think, well, it was pretty awful, but something actually good did actually come out of it in the end. So certainly from our perspective, there's going to be a lot of new songs out next year and beyond. I've also been writing my own solo album too, so those songs are going to be coming out too next year. So it's been very creative, very productive, and so in that way, hopefully, the dark age could lead into an age of light at the end of it. Hola, it's Steve Hovington from B-Movie here. I'd just like to say muchas gracias to all our friends and fans in Spain, particularly the followers of Históricas Grabaciones. I hope you will listen to our new songs as well as the classics. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube and so on. For up-to-date information, you can follow us on our Facebook page, B-Movie Music, and our website, bmovie.co.uk. Can't wait to see you all again in 2021. Until then, stay tuned and stay safe. Hasta luego.